Hi everyone, welcome to Draw My Life. Welcome to Draw Our Interviews. This is us, Vlad, Ruxar, and Pauline. The little guy is Daniel. He was in our group, but we think he dropped out since he stopped responding after a while and didn't show up anymore. Oh well, let's get to the important part of this video. We researched the motivation of employees at SAS Institute. Our interviews were conducted here at the office in Huizen. This is the actual office location of the Dutch employees working for SAS. If you don't believe us, just Google it. SAS Institute is a leader in business analytics software. Their software can be used to analyze performance and help with customer service. It started as a project at the North Carolina State University. SAS has even been included in the Great Places to Work list. Alright, enough about SAS. During our literature review, we looked for articles on work pressures and motivation. We found some motivational factors in these articles. In our interviews, we then incorporated these factors along with a focus on the high performance pressures at SAS. We had 11 standard questions for every employee we interviewed. One of the most important ones was, do you see the high performance pressures at SAS to be motivating or not? Another one was, what are your personal motivators? Do you feel a lot of pressure to do your job well? We also had a few specific questions depending on the job function of the interviewee. One of these examples for the managers was, how do you motivate your employees? Another one was, how do you try to stimulate communication? We use these questions to find out what managers do to motivate their employees and how they do this. Our first two interviews were conducted on the 16th of May. We started by interviewing Pascal Libbe, an education manager for SAS. Later that day, we also interviewed Evita Meijer, who is an HR business partner. For our interviews, we had different questions set up, though the questions weren't completely clear for the second person we interviewed. The employees, however, were very open about their motivation and experiences in the organization. We didn't have any leading questions set up, but when possible, we would ask to elaborate on specific subjects. We had to look for good and quiet places to conduct our interviews, since it was a very busy building. During our first interview, we got very elaborate answers, which had both a negative and a positive aspect to it. It was very helpful, but these answers also contained a lot of unnecessary information regarding our research. Our second interview had a few short answers. We had to stay silent for a bit at some points to make our interviewee elaborate on her answers. Our literature review was very helpful when we had to make our interview questions. However, we did find some other factors that could motivate the employees, such as the beautiful location they work at. We intend to give a bit more attention to that in our next interviews, as it seems to be a significant motivator to the employees. To analyze our interviews, we had to use open and axial coding. Coding our interviews was a bit of a struggle in the beginning, but once we got the hang of it, everything went smoothly. Each of us went ahead and analyzed the transcripts of the interviews. We were mostly looking for any fragments about motivation and high performance pressures, as that is what our research is about. After that, we discussed the open codes we all had and chose the ones that were most accurate and fitting. Once we picked out the open codes, we came up with the actual coding scheme, which includes topics such as personal motivators, corporate pressures, and personal communication. Some of the open codes related to these actual codes are diversity of tasks, responsibility, support, encouragement, teamwork, recognition, and increased performances. We came up with these codes by looking at each question and figuring out what the most important parts of the answers given to us were. We also looked out for some motivational factors that we didn't include in our theoretical framework. One of the memos we had during coding was that some parts of the interviews had the same codes. We also noticed that the first three questions we asked were kind of introductory questions, So we didn't use a lot of codes in that because it wasn't really relevant to our research. There's a little surprise after this, but that was it, everybody. Thanks for watching.
That's all, folks.